You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. They are struggling. Yes. It's time for you to take out from that cupboard underneath the stairs the teeniest, tiniest violin that you can find and place it between your thumb and forefinger and start to play a soft lament and do your best, your ultimate best, to squeeze a tear out in sympathy for poor Harry's wife and the Prince of Pink Pancakes. Go on, you know you can do it. Left eye, one tear, go. After all, surely you're not some heartless beast made of stone that looks upon the gruesome twosome with contempt and dislike, but rather that you recognise that these are just two people desperately in love, trying to forge a way through life, while swivel-eyed, foam-flecked, bigoted mouths gossip about them. Individuals that don't recognise that they've met one another's soulmate. That these are two individuals that have forged their own path away from the Nazi-like racist institution that is the royal family. That they, like two birds achieving freedom, flew across the ocean, first to Canada and then California, and have only thereafter sought privacy to ensure that their family is protected from the eyes of a scandalous and nosy world. But it can't be easy for them, you know. Life is difficult when you've got millions in the bank, and that there are people making your meals and cleaning your 27,000 flushing toilets and looking after your children, if they exist, around the clock. Life is very difficult issuing instructions to all of that staff. And then, of course, there is the toll of working for Archwell. That 1 hour a week must weigh so heavily upon them, taxing the few remaining brain cells that haven't been crushed by smoking dope that lurk beneath the ginger barnet, and of course the cavernous space of emptiness that resides within the Duchess of Industrial Beige. I have some sympathy for her as she wrestles with trying to conjure up an original thought. It must take all of that hour to attempt and fail to do so. Put aside your hard-hearted attitudes with regards to these two, because apparently they are struggling. Yes, poor lambs. Isn't it awful that notwithstanding all of that privilege, all of the money that they have, that they're struggling? It doesn't matter that there are some people that comb through rubbish tips looking for useful things that they can go and sell, or that people scramble through dumpsters looking for something to eat, or that people have to walk miles to pick up water which is full of bugs and infection, and they still drink it nevertheless because they're thirsty. No, those aren't real struggles. The struggle for Harry's wife and the Prince of Pink Pancakes is very real. And of course, as a consequence of the general glee at her failure to attend the coronation and repeated condemnation of her behaviours, manifest as threats to control, it's necessary for a member of the coterie to be rolled out to try and defend them. And, unsurprisingly, this is what has happened through OK magazine, a sometimes supine publication. The article by Taylor Norton tells us Harry's wife and Prince Harry are struggling after dramatic exit from the royal family, Deepak Chopra reveals. They exited 3 years ago, but they're still struggling. Oh dear. Mindfulness expert and author Deepak Chopra tell us Prince Harry and Harry's wife aren't doing so well. Come on, play those violins. Don't let them down. Author Deepak Chopra, who the Duke and Duchess worked with on a podcast back in 2020, claim the couple has been going through a tough time since making their dramatic exit from the royal family. I enjoyed the podcast and interacting with them. Our work together, has been periodic. They're struggling right now, Chopra spilled. I hope they get through it light-hearted, he added. I think there's too much drama around them. People should mind their own business. Well, Deepak Chopra, if you actually understood anything, you'd realise, of course, that all of the drama is self-generated by Harry's wife and Harry trailing in her wake. People do mind their own business, but the fact is, she keeps putting their business out there, and therefore people end up having to look at it. Chopra then decided to lend some advice to the couple. Oh, right, now it's lending advice, not giving it. Why? Is Chopra going to take it back after a period of time? Will Harry's wife return the advice? Saying, my advice is to ignore it, because if you react, you'll just aggravate the situation. If you ignore it, people can't say anything, then they'll stop. Well, better piece of advice from Chopra would be, you wanted privacy, take it. Get on with your lives, stop putting out PR puff pieces, stop tipping off the paparazzi, stop throwing brickbats at the royal family, stop craving attention. Of course, all of it will fall on deaf ears because Harry's wife is pathologically incapable of doing any of those things, but that would be far better advice and far more credible. As it stands, Chopra has just been wheeled out as a member of the coterie to try and make people feel sorry for them because they are struggling right now. I should imagine that if I was to conduct a quick poll of the level of sympathy for Harry and Harry's wife, the result would be the square root of fuck all. The writer further referenced the drama between the married couple and the royal family that began after Harry and Harry's wife's 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. Note, the drama began, Chopra, because they started it. In the interview, the Sussexes condemned the royals for the trauma that they allegedly inflicted on the pair, bringing up the past. Following the infamous sit-down, the former actress and the red-headed prince released a Netflix docuseries titled Harry and Harry's Wife. Harry debuted his memoir, Wah, that harshly criticised the brood. The most recent drama involves speculation about whether or not they would attend King Charles III's coronation amid their ongoing issues. However, on Wednesday, April 2nd, Buckingham Palace confirmed their plan of attendance, which, as you know, is that Harry's going to turn up and she is not. But you are expected to feel sorry for them. Are they struggling? Quite possibly they are, because there is so much criticism and people have had enough of their victimhood that it becomes difficult for them to deal with. Him, because ultimately the burden of this criticism is difficult for him to deal with. Her, because it repeatedly threatens her sense of control. The fact is that with regard to Harry's wife, there is this mountain of disapproval, and that would manifest as these repeated threats to control, which would result in her feeling like she's struggling. Of course, many narcissists dole out pity plays such as this based upon information that is false, but here it may well be the case that they are actually struggling, and for once Harry's wife is utilising the truth as you and I would understand it to be, but is doing so, of course, by virtue of a pity play, because she rolls out a coterie member, go and talk about how the fact that we're struggling and it's all very difficult for us, in the hope that people will feel sorry for us and ease off. People aren't going to do so. For as long as she continues to attempt to manipulate people, the response is going to be along these lines. But it is interesting to note that they are indeed struggling, but it comes as no surprise. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.